Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the Batman movie. Now, for context, this movie hasn't come out yet. This is just a quick recap on where we're at. It's been a bit of a journey with this movie over the last couple of years. Obviously, things went to hell back in 2020. I was looking forward to the movie coming out. I think it was sometime in 2021 it was scheduled to come out. We've seen trailers and so on over the last couple of years and promotional materials. We've seen some set photographs, things like that. All very intriguing. But having said that, I wasn't really on board with it just because of the disappointment of the DC cinematic universe at that point. I wasn't even a big fan of the Joker movie. I loved the Dark Knight trilogy, it was great. It seems like with this one, they seem to be going with some of the better aspects of those. So that's something that really did kind of grab my attention with this. It does feel like a bit more of a gritty and grounded movie. Similar to the Dark Knight trilogy, but that was more, to me, felt more Christopher Nolan than Batman, which is great because I love Christopher Nolan movies as well. But it's great, hopefully, just to have something that is more Batman. And as a fan of the comic books and some of the darker stuff from the 80s, 90s and beyond, this really will give us something that we've been hoping to get that just was sadly lacking in the DC cinematic universe movies. I kind of like Ben Affleck as Batman, but it wasn't a great setting. I wasn't given a huge amount to do justice, no, all puns aside, to the role. But anyway, that's that. This is this. Let's have a talk about it. Okay, so obviously on this channel, I kind of started this thing talking about superhero movies. I mean, literally, if you can see this box set here, this was the Dark Knight Trilogy Blu-ray box set that got released in 2013. That was the first video I ever did on this channel. And then I went on to talk quite a lot about superhero movies because it was quite exciting at the time back in 2013, 14, even 15. Things were getting announced for the next few years that kind of took us through to 2019. It was really exciting. Just being a fan of films, but also seeing the superhero genre really kind of blossom. You know, I grew up with Christopher Reeve's Superman, Tim Burton's Batman. Tim Burton didn't play Batman, obviously, but those movies that he directed, and then as we got a little bit older, we had things like the Christopher Nolan movies and so on. And as that was kind of doing the DC stuff, Marvel really started to come into its own because up till that point, we really hadn't seen much of anything that was too memorable, apart from maybe the X-Men movies and a few others here and there. So, like for context, obviously, I was a big fan of the superhero movies. If you've been following the channel since the beginning or over the last few years, you would have known that, but I haven't really been following them. And that's why I mentioned this, because this movie to me is kind of breaking me out of something. For the last few years, obviously it's been kind of easy to say because we had a bit of a slowing down of production of superhero movies. But having said that, I kind of question that really. Obviously, the cinemas were closed for a while, but I mean, last year, how many Marvel movies did we have? I mean, even through 2020 and 21, whether it was at the cinema or direct to video, like with the Wonder Woman 1984 movie, which I didn't watch, but there was still a lot of stuff coming out, and I just gave up on it. For context, the last Marvel movie that I watched was the last of Phase 3, which was the Spider-Man Far From Home movie in summer of 2019. That was the last Marvel movie I watched, and I have no intention of going any further beyond that. That kind of ended the Infinity Saga for me. And then the DC movies, I gave up on those after the Wonder Woman movie. I didn't think that was a terrible film, to be honest. It was better than I expected, but the next one after that was Justice League. I heard enough to know not to bother with that film, regardless of the Zack Snyder cuts. Everything that came after that, I really wasn't interested in. Hopefully, if you're watching this and you like them, obviously, if you enjoyed them, great. It wasn't for me, that's just the thing. Now, so I didn't watch any of those movies. The only one I did watch was the Joker movie because that was set in a different universe. I gave it a chance. I can see why a lot of people liked it. I'm not going to attack that movie. I just wasn't a big fan. I thought it was okay, but I can see why a lot of people liked it. I've just seen that movie done better in other forms, whether it's Death Wish or King of Comedy, which I still say that film is a remake of, or Taxi Driver, or any of these other movies. I thought it was a waste of an opportunity to do a proper Joker movie and not just something else. But anyway, I'm feel like I'm kind of getting off on a sidetrack here, but that's the context of this video really, because I have decided, despite everything that I've just said, I have decided to go see this new Batman movie because to me, it could represent unfinished business. Let's just put it that way, because I feel like, as a fan of The Dark Knight, Batman, whether it's the comic book stuff or having grown up with the animated series, even the Adam West version as well for what it was at the time, having enjoyed all these different iterations of the character, it's always to me felt like we've not had that comic book accurate live action depiction. We came very close with Ben Affleck. In fact, you could say he kind of nailed it in a lot of ways, but the movies just sucked. So this hopefully will maybe give us a bit of unfinished business and a bit of closure if they do a good job with it. Now, I've heard a lot of things that put me off this. I'm not put off by the fact that Robert Pattinson is playing Batman. I think he's an actor that has reinvented himself a lot, so who cares if he was in Twilight? I seriously don't care. I've not seen him in too many other things. Quite liked him in the film Tenet. I thought he was very good in that, to be honest. But again, if he's good in this, so be it. I'm willing to give him a chance. But the few other things that I've heard that kind of put me off this movie was the fact that it felt, from what I understand, from what I'd heard, that they were kind of trying to spin this franchise off into television shows, and I hate that. A cinematic universe should be a cinematic universe. I don't want to have to use this as a kind of launch pad for something on HBO Max where I've got to sit down and commit myself to episode after episode, and that becomes season after season, and they spin off into multiple other seasons, some of which might be in continuity, some of which might not be. That's what they did with Marvel. And I hope that they don't do that with this. I mean, maybe like an event series, a mini series, I could give a bit of time to that, but you just know that if it does well, they're just going to keep going and going and going. And I hate that. I love to have a nice little self-contained universe of movies, like a trilogy or whatever, and not have to have hour after hour after hour after hour of required viewing, which is what they've done with the Marvel movies. It's like if you want to go forward and watch like the new Doctor Strange movie, there's characters that they've introduced in the TV shows which I have no interest in watching that are going to pop up in those movies. So if I was to go see that, there's going to be like nods and winks at the very least to the audience, like the ones that pay Disney Plus. You know who that character is. I don't. That really pisses me off, does that. So hopefully they're not going to do that with the DC movies, but it does to me. Sounds like they are going to do it. In fact, here's a clip. Now, it does sound pretty good, to be fair, what he's saying. He is Colin Farrell, who's playing the Penguin in these movies, talking about to do justice to his character, doing this TV series and making it R-rated in particular, is the way to go forward. And to be honest, despite what I've just said about TV shows and spin-offs and stuff, it does sound like a very good idea. It sounds like a very, very solid plan as well. So coming from me, that's kind of an endorsement. So I am open-minded. But anyway, here's a clip, and I'm going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Ambition and his vulnerability, his humour. I mean, it was just the tip of the iceberg in this film for me, but there were little moments in the scripts that Matt wrote in relation to Oz, little bits of humour and awkwardness as well, and his origin, you know, why he is the man he is and all that stuff. If we get 6 or 8 hours to do it, I just think the character could be endlessly fun and fascinating and brutal, and I hear that we're going to be allowed kind of do an R-rated version perhaps, which would be nice to explore that, the violence that could permit perhaps, and the darkness that could allow us to explore, so all those things.
So there you go. It's hard really not to think that it's a good idea when you hear stuff like that. But who knows? It depends on the success of this movie, and that's the point of this video. Because, like I say, this is something that could have gone either way. This movie is not in continuity with the other DC movies, as far as I'm aware. I don't believe it's in continuity with the Joker movie from 2019. Although they could have possibly worked something out to kind of make that movie be a kind of a a prologue to this in some ways. I don't know. It depends what they do with this, but we'll see. Now, my plan is to go see this pretty soon after it comes out. I've kind of committed myself socially. I've got a few friends that are wanting to go, and I've been kind of messing them about and saying I might go, I might not go. Yeah, I'm on board, and then all of a sudden I'll hear something bad. I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure now, but it's getting to that point now where I don't want to be messing my friends around. So I've committed to going to see this movie. Whatever else I hear from now on, unless it's terrible, like really bad, I am going to go see this. The fact that it's 3 hours long is also a bit of an issue. That makes it kind of difficult for me to go see this movie because I'm going to have to travel quite a distance to go to a decent cinema anyway to watch this, and it's a 3 hour movie. So going after work one night is going to be very tricky because when you factor in travel time and also the actual the length of the movie itself, and then getting back home makes it difficult. So I'm going to figure something out anyway. Now, there's a friend of mine, you've seen him on the channel before, he's my co-reviewer of The Core. He has zero intention of watching this film in a cinema. I don't know if he's ever going to watch this film at all. We've been kind of joking about this recently. His issues with this film are very different to mine. Like I say, I was kind of talking about spin-offs and TV shows. He doesn't mind that at all. I think he actually prefers that, to be honest, because he just wants to stay at home and just press a button and it comes on the TV and you just get fed the same episode after episode basically, and you can watch it. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people enjoy it. I like to do that for TV shows that I like in general anyway. I'm watching The Sopranos at the moment. I'm loving it. There's loads of episodes to go at. I'm glad that it's something that you can just, like I say, you can just sit down and just put it on whenever you want. It's not like movies where you have to kind of commit to it and you only get 2 hours and that's it, or 3 hours in this case. But anyway, I'm going to cut over to The Core. I'm going to just call him now, and hopefully he doesn't mind talking about this if I'm not catching him unawares. But here is The Core. Here are his thoughts. I think we're recording now. I'll just turn my camera on. So I'm doing a video anyway. I'm talking about the film's coming out on Saturday, and well, no, it's coming out Friday, I think. And I'm going to commit to going to watch it. There's a few people that do want to go see it as well. I've had my concerns, but you yourself have got an interesting perspective. You don't want to go see it at all. It's been a very clear no. Nothing really can sway your mind.
Yes. Well,
what do you
basically, or essentially, or any one of my accidental catchphrases. No, I'm kind of over Batman at this point. Like, we've had a lot of good films. I grew up with the classic films, if you like. The Tim Burton Batman and stuff like that. And then we had the really good Christian Bale Batmans. And then I was kind of on board for the the DC, the DC, Ben Affleck. I say I'm not even sure what to sum it up as anymore. The Snyderverse, or what? It just seems to have so many different
the mess.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, now we've got another one with an actor I don't particularly like or have any kind of faith in. He doesn't look much like Bruce Wayne. He looks like a fucking emo. And it's just like, okay, so we're rebooting Batman again for another thing, and it's like, I'm not interested. I was the same way with the Garfield Spider-Man, kind of the Amazing Spider-Man. It's like, I love Spider-Man. I'm usually all over Spider-Man. I'm not interested in this Spider-Man. It's too soon. I'm not, why the fuck are you rebooting this already?
Money.
Yeah, it's like, I was kind of on board when it went to the Tom Holland and okay, we're going to bring it into the MCU. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. But this is just okay, you're starting a completely new thing because you fucked up the last thing and you can't even leave it a couple of years before you start again.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's basically my rationale on it. If I hear good things, okay, but from what I've heard so far, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's all fair point. I can't fault you on any of that. I think the difference between us, it's not the fundamental, the swinger of things, but obviously you've watched a lot more of the DC movies, the Ben Affleck universe ones than I have. So I've kind of been saving my appetite, I guess, for something good to come along. I think there's a factor of that. I'm not saying that's the reason.
I mean,
but
to be fair though, the only thing I think I've seen that you haven't is Justice League. That's the only like Ben Affleck focused one. Everything else has been radically different to the point of like I wouldn't. It's not like the MCU where it's like, okay, these films are all kind of like following together and flowing together and stuff. It's like you could take out Aquaman, wouldn't affect the rest of the DC fucking stuff. You could take out Shazam, doesn't affect the rest of it. It's like, why is this even like a shared universe when this stuff has no connective tissue?
Yeah.
Beyond like just putting in like a post-credit scene doesn't really kind of make it, all one.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, like I say, in fact, I was going to cut into this and then I was going to go back and do the rest of my video, but I can end it like with this. But yeah, I was kind of messing a few people about saying I wanted to go, but I wasn't sure. But now, as it's getting closer to release, I'm kind of having to commit to it just so that people know what they're doing this weekend. So I've said I'm definitely going to go now, unless something really bad comes out about this movie. I'm definitely going to go see it. Hopefully, it's not one of those like, that's 3 hours of my life I'm never going to get back situations. But I think for a few people, we haven't really been to the cinema for a while as well. There's a few of us that are going, and some of us just haven't been in a long time. So.
I honestly can't think the last thing I'll have been to the cinema to see. It's been a while.
I think it was the Spider-Man. I think it was the Spider-Man movie, the 2019 one, because we went. In fact, no, you went to see Godzilla, didn't you? After that, the day after that in Manchester.
Yeah. So yeah. The last film I was seen was one I went to see myself, like just on my own.
Yeah, the King of the Monsters movie. So yeah, like 2.5 years ago. But yeah, we were talking about which seats to get and so on, because at the View, there's the IMAX or there's just a standard one, and it seems a bit redundant now. Kind of going off on a different subject, but it seems a bit redundant, the recliner seats on the front row if you go IMAX, because what I used to like about those seats were they were like single things, so you had your own space, whereas now they've put them on this like long connected row. And you can kind of end up like awkwardly sharing an armrest with like a total stranger. So you might as well just kind of get the VIP ones, which are like the second row backwards. So not up front, but like the next row, and a few rows back where they're slightly comfier seats. But then you've just got the standard seats, which also recline as well. So that it kind of makes that front row a little bit redundant, if you ask me.
Well, you see, what you really need is the back row, because otherwise you could have somebody using the back of your chair as like a coat hanger, because that's what you do in
that's how it works.
Cinemas. And anybody who complains is being completely unreasonable.
Exactly, yeah. But where do people on the front row put their coats then? In that case,
I think they just throw it over to like the like seating area below, or just like throw it up onto the screen or something.
Yeah, well, that would work. So I think I'll wrap this video up. I've got a video. If you wait till right at the very end, there's the usual silly video that only about 5 people that know us will actually understand the in-joke. But I'll put that on at the end of the video. I think I might have sent it to you. Did I send you the Pulp Fiction video earlier? Have you watched it?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, fair play. I'll edit it. It's the end of this video. As always, there's like Marvel have their post-credit scenes. We have our like right at the end of the video clips that just get thrown in randomly. So stay right till the end anyway, basically. I'm going to knock this video off. I'm going to stay on the line with you, Carl, but I'll knock the video off, and obviously we'll do a review of, well, not you, but I'll do a review of the movie after it comes out in a week's time. But yeah, fingers crossed it's good. Anyway, so yeah, Brondix Reviews, like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you next time. There was the Spider-Man movie. Was it Far From Home or No Way Home? Far From Home. I get the titles confused. That was one that came out in 2019 anyway. Jason? Start again. Something I forgot to mention right quick. Pretty cool. I went for a coffee today. Well, actually, it was a hot chocolate, and I got this from Cafe Nero. They put a question mark in the top as a promotion for the Batman movie, some other stuff that they've got on an app. But it's pretty cool because it ties in with something that you do see in the movie. It's in the trailer. The Riddler's got a coffee, and it's got that on top. Pretty cool anyway. I forgot to mention it.
Describe what the topher looks like. Eh? Say eh one more time. One more goddamn time. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say eh one more goddamn time. He's fat. Go on. He's gormless. Does he look like a bitch? Eh?
Does he look like a bitch?